want to talk about goals today. What is it that you really want? Do you want $1 million, a new car, a trip around the world? Would having these things make your dream life come true? Those are all worthy goals, and if I have to be honest, are things I wouldn't mind having for myself. But if you ever encountered this situation, you've scrimped and you've saved in order to be able to afford that something you thought you always wanted, and then when you were finally able to afford to buy it, found that it didn't give you the happiness you thought you would get from it, that situation is a lot more common than you'd think. And my guest, Dr. Dravon James, believes that if this has happened to you, it may be time to rethink your goals. Dravon is the founder of Everyday Peace and is an inspirational speaker and coach, and the author of the book Freedom is Your Birthright. Welcome to the Dream Power Show, Dravon.
I mean, it is so good to be here. Thank you for having me for my third go round, and this will not be the last.
I am sure that as well too. But today I want to focus on our goals. So, would you say that limiting our goals and our wishes just to material things is not the way we should think about them?
Yes, and I gotta agree with you that who wouldn't love a trip around the world or $1 million, right? Because
Exactly.
those things are all worthy goals, and me, just like you, I would love to have those things in my life, and I do. They're not bad things to have. The issue, however, is when we don't turn the focus inward, right? And make self-awareness the primary goal. From there, we can have everything. We got to have that relationship first.
Okay, so Dravon, let's talk about how to actually get beyond just the idea of goals aren't just limited to material items, and that we should be able to find a way to dig a little bit deeper to discover what it is that we really want. So, how do we discover our true desires?
Yeah, Debbie, I love that. You said goals are not just limited. I love the fact that you threw that word limited in there because we think sometimes when we're asking for the $1 million or for the beachside home that we're asking for all of this, but we are in the universe, right? And that's is a limited portion of what we have access to. So the real goal behind that small external goal, no matter how big it seems, is to ask the why. What will this provide for me when I achieve this? What is it that I really want beyond just having the house? What part of this is going to open up? How is it going to change my life? How am I going to serve differently, right? Because it's really all this whole journey is about service to one another, right? So how am I going to open up? And you'll find that it's not just the house, it's not just the $1 million. In fact, when you talk to people who have these things, they'll talk to you mostly about their life being service and how having these things has put them in a position to serve a larger population with whatever their gift
So, Dravon, a lot of times, we look to buy these things uh, because a lot of times it represents a way to be happy or to make ourselves happy. But that really doesn't last. It's short lived. So tell me, what is your definition of true happiness?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question, Debbie, because true happiness has to begin with self awareness. It has to. And it has to end with self acceptance and honoring. And of course, that doesn't mean that we don't desire to get better and learn more about ourselves along the pathway. Of course, we do. But becoming self aware, and this is not from a critical standpoint. This is not to say that, I condemn myself for this, like I'm not good enough in that. Look how I'm failing in that. Not for that. It's just to say, I see me. I see me. I am aware that I am. And then to accept myself as I am and to honor me as I am. That gives me, each and every one of us, the freedom to practice self improvement, right? And that is where happiness really resides. That's how you can go have the $1 million home or the fabulous vacations around the world and have it not ruin you, because we all know that there are people who have everything we think we want and they are still unhappy, right?
Well, getting to that point of finding self acceptance, self love, self awareness. is often easier said than done. So, how do you start to get there?
Oh, that's another great question. How do we become self-aware? What we do, first of all, is we honor our past, right? It was there. We know it. We've got the t-shirt to prove it, right? We honor part of ourselves. But we also have this intellect of knowing that we do not currently live in the past. And as far as I know, we can't change any of the past, right? We also honor our eventual tomorrow. We honor that. We're grateful for that coming of tomorrow. But as far as I know, neither of us can exist in the now and tomorrow. So we become very, very intelligent and we say that this moment, the moment that I'm in right now, this second right now, not 5 seconds from now, but this second, what am I grateful for in this moment right now? And we become ecstatically pleased with that, expressing so much gratitude about what we have in this moment, what we're doing in this moment, who we know in this moment, the impact we're having on the world in this moment. It makes us more self-aware, and guess what we find? Increasing our confidence, increasing our happiness in this moment.
Yeah, that is such an important concept to embrace because all of us, it now or any one time, or we're all of us tend to live our lives in the past. We go into the what might have been, or we're thinking about that someday. Oh, someday I'll do this, thinking about the future. And you're right, we don't think about living right now, living in the present. And you're right, when we do that, we can take stock and really learn to appreciate what we are and who we are at this moment. But another thought that often keeps us small and keeps us stuck from being the people we really truly hope to be are those thoughts in our heads that make us believe things, like the I don't deserve to be rich, or I'm not worthy for that, or even the idea of I'm afraid of what would happen if I did get what I want. So, how do you get beyond those thoughts that are there to just keep us stuck and keep us in that negative way of thinking?
You know, Debbie, that's our self-talk, right? And our self-talk, as you just alluded to, is the most important, most influential conversation we will ever have, is the story that we tell us about us. And unfortunately, a lot of that story deals with lack, right? I am not good enough means I lack this. I lack the integrity. I lack the know-how. I lack the skill set. I lack the personality. And that all comes from a place of fear. We've got to learn how to talk to that fear, because fear is there for a reason. We're not trying to get rid of it. It keeps us from getting into certain very dangerous situations. We've got to learn how to talk to that too. And that's part of self-awareness. I am afraid that I am not good enough. Okay, well, let's explore that. Right? Staying in that self-aware. When that fear starts to talk, we talk back. Right? We talk back. We make you analyze it. Have I never done anything before? Sure, yes, I have. Have I never been afraid before? Sure, yes, I have. Has the outcome always been bad? No, no, it hasn't. Can I point to any valuable lessons that I've learned from being afraid and doing it anyway?
Tell me, go into maybe a little bit more detail of what can you say when you're basically having this conversation with yourself, getting beyond that story to discovering what it is, because usually when you get down to something, there is something that is keeping you fearful.
Yeah. So, the brain is very primitive and very advanced, right? So the brain's job for a lot of us, for everybody, is to keep us safe, right? And so when we drill, and you're absolutely, when we drill down, we find that little girl or that little boy curled up in the corner and what their fears are. And it's not for us to go in there, like a lion and roar and drag them out. It's for us to sit in some understanding and shed a lot of awareness. And so the question is to tell me why, right? To tell me why, and just to sit. It's not for us to come up with the answer ourselves. It's for to let that inner voice give us the answer. This is what's bothering me, right? At the end of I'm afraid I'm not good enough. Why do you think you're not good enough? And waiting. Because at first you'll get, well, I'm just not good enough. No, I'd like to know why you think that, right? And then, have you ever been good at anything? But just asking the why questions. The what if, what would happen if you tried? Allows that little, the inner self, that little shy, the little scared person of whatever, it allows them to stand front and center. Again, for us just to acknowledge them. I call that shining the light of awareness. Once you shine the light of awareness on the situation, on the pain, on the, we call it the boogeyman when I was a kid, right? The thing sleeping underneath the bed. And once you turn the light on, poof, it's gone, right? And that, but we first have to acknowledge that I am afraid of this thing. What is it that you're afraid of? And giving yourself time, not feel like you got to rush to have the answer. Allow, that's another part of self-hatred, right? That if I don't have the answer today, I told you I'm not good enough, right? So I'll wait, you're important. And that self-talk, I'll wait, you're important. We'll have this dialogue maybe an hour from now. We'll try after dinner. We'll try in the morning. I'll wait, you're important. And once we get really accustomed to that type of self-love, that type of attention.
Let's get back to the idea of, setting goals. So if you were to say, hey, I want to be making more money than I'm making now, uh, how would you frame that in a way that is self beneficial and self empowering?
Well, I'd start with an I am statement because whatever it is you're speaking for, you have to speak that in it is your present being, right? Remember that old phrase we used to hear, fake it until you make it, sort of like that, but not really faking it. We're accepting it as our truth right now. I am grateful for this increase in money to the tune of whatever. If you know the exact amount, good. Because I do think if you can be specific in your goals, you can become more excited about them. And it is really the feeling of excitement, right, that draws that which does not exist in the physical world into the physical world, right? So that I am in the gratitude and getting excited about it. So bringing it right now to the now. So if I were looking for more money, I would say, I am grateful that I'm making, I don't know, $50,000 a month. It feels good, right? And then for a bonus, add on there, how are you going to be of service to someone with that?
How can people find out more about you and your work?
Oh, thank you for that question. You can find me on my live radio program every Monday, which is Dr. Dravon James, Everyday Peace. And we air every Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on unityonlineradio.org. My website is www.drdravon, D-R-A-B as in victory, O-N James.com. And of course, I'm on social media, Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, under the name Dr. Dravon James. And my book, Freedom is Your Birthright, is available at Amazon.